Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Transformation Show. I'm your hostess, Donna Whittington, and tonight I have a very special guest with me tonight. I'm so excited to bring on Michelle Gilberto. She is going to chat with us tonight about soulmates. So we're going to have a lot of fun. So before I bring Michelle on, let me just give you a little bit of background about her, let you know what we're in for tonight. So Michelle is connected to Source, and she uses intuitive customization to guide each person through the process of their unique healing by creating an environment for transformation on all levels: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. She works with each client to discover and heal the root cause of their condition by identifying and releasing blocks such as limiting beliefs, patterns, and unprocessed emotions. Those beliefs and patterns shape our personal reality, often magnetizing pathogens, disease, and life experiences for us to learn from. Healing at the root levels allows for transmutation of the cause of the symptoms and connects the client to their true focused intention and ability to take inspired action towards desired. Michelle says, I am empowering people to heal. The process is gentle, loving, safe, and even fun. It awakens people to their world and helps them to feel and know love for themselves and others. It is exciting and thrilling for me to be able to facilitate the process for others and to achieve health, clarity, abundance, and joy. So I'm very excited to bring Michelle on with us tonight, and I hope you guys are ready. Michelle, how are you?
Hi, Donna. I'm great. Thank you for having me tonight.
It's a pleasure. Pleasure is all mine. I'm so excited having you on the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Transformation Show because we are going to be talking about soulmates. And then, of course, everyone wants to know, have a soulmate? Where's my soulmate? Did I miss my soulmate? Will I ever get another one? So I'm really excited. We're going to dive deep tonight, folks. And before we do that, Michelle, I gave a little bit of information about you. You want to go a little bit deeper and give us a little bit more of a background on you?
Sure. So I have been working as an intuitive healer for nearly a decade now. Many people that know me know, I started because my children were experiencing chronic illness. And through that journey with them, I sort of started to experience that there were things that I could do and I could feel empowered to help them heal and help myself open up to more possibilities in my life. So that really started my journey. And along the way, I've worked with a number of modalities. I've tried to just take in the best of what I love from all of them into my practice and my work with people. In our conversation tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about theta healing, which is a modality that I use pretty frequently. And it's a really great healing modality for tapping into what's in the subconscious, right? We want to look at what comes before our conscious thoughts, what's creating how we look at our world, how we perceive what's happening, why do we feel the way we do about the things that are happening, or why do we feel the way we do with certain people in our life? And a lot of the answers to that are in the subconscious. It's the stuff that we don't yet think about, but we do know, and we can tap into what's in there to gain greater clarity into what's happening and to feel empowered to possibly refine what's there or choose differently to create a life in a way that is more in alignment with what we want. You know, whether it's, I don't have a soulmate and I really want one, you can look at what is going on in the subconscious and see why it is that way right now. You can get some real concrete answers to that so that you can set your intentions and start shifting the energy towards what you want. So I do a lot of that in my day-to-day practice, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm really excited to talk about all of that with you tonight.
Awesome. 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 So, Michelle, well, let's go ahead and get started. And folks, before Michelle and I start diving deep here, this is the best time for you to ask your questions. And to do that, all you got to do is just type them in the chat. We'll see them in the chat. I can put them up on the screen. So get your questions and type them in the chat for us. So Michelle, while we folks are thinking of their questions, let me just ask you, why do so many find it difficult to find a soulmate? I mean, is there anything that we can do to make it better?
Absolutely. There's a lot we can do. And first, I want to say that that's a belief that many of us have. It's a belief in the subconscious. It's hard to find a soulmate. It's actually not that hard. We have many kinds of soulmates, and we're going to go into the different kinds of soulmates that there are. But many of us have already met a soulmate. Where we're going is really that soulmate that is our life partner. But we've probably met a couple of soulmates already. And so I want to go, when we go through the different kinds, I think people are going to start to realize, they'll reflect on their life and realize that they have met maybe one or two already. So it is a belief, and we can change our beliefs in the subconscious. We can change that belief. And if anybody wants to take that in right now, that they want to release that limiting belief that it's hard to find a soulmate, go ahead and take that one in. Let's just download that in Theta, right? And that it can be easy to find a soulmate. And I know how to find my soulmate. I know how to find my most compatible soulmate. It's easy to let them show up. I think that when it truly is hard for people, they do have other limiting beliefs. That's one of the reasons that it's hard. We have limiting beliefs that it is hard, so we create it. That's hard. Or have some fear about what happens. What happens if I find my soulmate? I won't even know what to do. So sometimes we hold off a little bit because it might feel a little overwhelming. What do we do when we really meet that person? So it's great to examine some of those subconscious beliefs, and that definitely can make it easier. Sometimes people look too hard.
Ooh.
Right? If we look too hard for that person, we are working with the universe. We get to flow with it, right? When you're feeling how you want to feel in your life, it's much easier for the universe to deliver that person to you in a really joyful way, right? Instead of us having to turn over every little rock looking for them.
Right.
So that's another piece to it, I think. Really, one of the main beliefs too, I would say, to work with is loving yourself, right? That you can love yourself. When you love yourself, it's way easier for that compatible soulmate to really show up.
True.
But yes, it's a belief. So I think people are going to see that it isn't so hard to actually find a soulmate as we go through this tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you were talking about theta healing, and when you were talking, were you also bringing in that energy to remove those blocks?
Yes.
For us? Okay.
Yep, absolutely. So I'll explain that a little bit so people can understand. So that is a modality that I've studied extensively. I love it. Definitely Google it. It's a lot of fun. And when we work in theta, right, we're tapping into the subconscious, but it's by choice. So anybody that wants to take in changing a belief, changing a program, or anything in the subconscious, you can choose that. You can just say, yeah, I want that one. And you will do that. You will take it in. It's really that simple. My job as the theta healer is to just witness it, and you get to choose, right? Because we can't force it on anybody. I can't make somebody change a belief, but if you choose to, then you absolutely will change it. And my belief and my experience is that when we want something to transform, it happens right from our awareness, right? So as soon as I'm bringing to your awareness, you might have this belief. You may have a belief that it's hard to find a soulmate, right? Now it's in your awareness. It's in your conscious mind. It's not down in the subconscious anymore only. It's here, right? Your perspective is already shifting. It's already changing, and you're already working with that. And if you choose, yes, yeah, I really want to work with that, I'm ready to let that belief go, then it's going to go, and things will start to shift in your life. So as I'm talking, I might come up with a couple of belief changes like that. And when I offer them, you can choose it. And if you choose it, you'll start to see some changes.
Awesome. Now, for romantic relationships. So let's talk about those. Now, what do you think the role of unconditional love is in romantic relationships?
I believe that we can have unconditional love for ourselves, and that's a beautiful thing. And it is nice to know what unconditional love feels like. And it's nice to know what it feels like to be unconditionally loved. However, if you want to practice with unconditional love in your romantic relationships, that can create a lot of problems. When we want to learn about unconditional love in our romantic relationships. And that's a program a lot of us run. And it's not to judge anybody for it or condemn us. It's actually a beautiful thing, right? Because we come here, we incarnate on earth, we want to, experience and know unconditional love. Of course we do. We want to learn all about it. And that's great. But when we are learning about it in our romantic relationships, then those partners have to be difficult. They have to. They are going to be difficult. We are going to attract and vibrate to someone who has a lot of issues going on, that is difficult in your life, maybe not so compatible with you, so that you can get to see how much unconditional love you have and what it feels like to practice unconditional love with someone. So a lot of times what I like to do with people is release them from the obligation to have to practice unconditional love in their romantic relationships. So if anyone would like to release that now, please go right ahead, say yes, and you can take that in and complete any obligation to have to learn unconditional love in your romantic relationships, and that you can really feel and know unconditional love in your life, right? Know it from all sides without having to practice it. Right? So that you can just have that great love with your partner without needing them to show up that way to you or to attract people who are going to give you a really hard time.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And, that's the thing is, I think that we get to that point where we want things, unconsciously, I should say, we want things to be hard, and doesn't have to be. And I think so much of the message tonight that you're bringing is we don't have to make our relationships hard. Right. Right. And it's about, and sometimes we do make them hard, but there's usually a value to why we were doing it that way. If we're making it hard, we're probably learning something really important. But once it's rising up, it's coming up into our consciousness, to me, that means I don't have to do it that way anymore. I don't have to do it so hard anymore. What was the payoff of doing that thing hard? Ooh. Oh, okay, I learned about unconditional love. Now I know what I know what that feels like. I know I have it. I'm good. Like, how can I have it easier now? Let's just let that program evolve and have it be a little more fun and easy now. Right. And there's that though. And folks, please listen to what you just said there, was that you get to that awareness of, oh, I didn't have to make it like that. And so if it comes up again, you don't have to repeat. We don't, we tend to cycle. Absolutely. Yeah. We do, which I think is wonderful that we learn that way, right? We come back around, we learn something in our relationships, and we say, we complete that program. I learned about my capacity for unconditional love. I'm not really interested in learning about that. I want to learn some other things in my romantic relationship now, right? We want to learn some fun things. Some fun things, right? And we come around, but now we come back around and we kind of know this time. Like, oh,
this is about unconditional love. Like, I know what this is about now, right? It's a little different because our awareness has shifted. We've got more choice now. We can think, how do I want to walk through this? The same way I did before, or do I want to do it a little different now?
Yes, yes. And do you find with the clients that you're working with, do you find them, do some of them complain or talk about being in the same thing over and over and over again, and you helping them to do things differently around, like, okay, you've been there before.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do differently?
Yeah, absolutely. When I see someone doing the same thing, and we all do this, right? All of us humans are in this together, right? So we all do this. We do things over and over because we're learning about those things, right? So, maybe we're learning about compassion or, grace or how to give or how to receive, so we might do things several times over because our soul really wants to get that lesson, to really understand something from some different sides, or have a different perspective. So we might do something with someone and do a similar kind of program with someone else. A lot of the time I see that as an obligation in the subconscious, right? That's ready to be completed and evolved out to the next best way to do it, right? So that's where I like to work with people is, okay, where's the obligation? How's that working for you? Let's bring in some gratitude for how you did it. And wow, amazing. Look at all that you learned, right? And now where do we want to go from here? What would you like to create now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to bring on a question from Cassandra. We put that back up there. And I think Cassandra's question is really going to kind of feed into the 7 types. So Cassandra is asking, how can you characterize what type of soulmate you are currently dating?
Okay, well, I think it's a great idea to go through the 7 types of soulmates that there are, right? Because once you're aware that there's more than one kind and what they're about, you can start to think about that relationship you're in. What are we doing together, right? Does it feel like, do we kind of fit this way or do we fit this way? So I think that's a really great question. And I think a lot of people ask that. And that's something I work with people on, right? They want to know, like, where am I in this? Like, what am I doing with this relationship? And I just love how they've laid out these 7 kinds in theta healing, because I think it's just a really great framework for people to use to get an idea or a sense of where they are. So let's go through those 7. The first kind of soulmate is the twin flame, right? And the twin flame is really intense, and it's an exact mirror of you. They're just like you. They are like, it's like dating you, right? And it can be very intense to date yourself, basically.
Absolutely. I think we might have lost the volume. Oh, there you are, Michelle.
You got me? Okay.
Yeah, we lost you there.
Okay, so I was just starting to dig into the twin flame relationship, which is that person and you are mirrors of each other. However, they could be a mirror for you right now, or they could be a mirror of your 18-year-old self. So it would be like dating yourself when you were 18 or 20, which may be interesting to know what you were like back then, but I don't know if it would be so fun. But the twin flame relationship, it's very intense because it is making you look at all those parts of yourself, parts that you love, but maybe the parts that that you're not yet loving so much. So that can be difficult. It's also, I think, a lot of times people want someone that complements their qualities, and that is going to be absent in a relationship like that, right? Because their qualities are your qualities. So those usually don't last long. Those are usually a short-term type of relationship. but they may be necessary for you to see what you're like. So it's kind of interesting if you're in a twin flame relationship to learn about yourself. Okay, the second type of soulmate relationship is the incompatible soulmate. So you've been around each other before. You've had a past life together. You feel like you know each other. So when you first meet, it's like you recognize each other. But then you'll soon find that you're just not very compatible. There isn't much more there than that past life connection. So it's like, oh, cool, we met up again this time and I recognize you. And then you kind of go your separate ways. That's another short-lived one. That's the second kind. The third kind of soulmate, this is a really cool one, is the diamond in the rough. Mm. So they could be a very compatible soulmate for you. You could be super compatible, but they are not ready for you. They have some developing to do. So you have choices there. Okay. So
let me ask you that now. For those folks that are incompatible, and say someone who is not watching this show, okay, mm-hmm. So they don't know that they're not incompatible, but maybe they're kind of struggling with the relationship and struggling, and this could be the reason why. It's like, but now they continue to try to fix that person, to help them along. Mm-hmm. Is there ever a time where, I guess through that fixing, that seems like a lot of work, people. That's why I'm grimacing. That they become soulmates? Do they graduate or, to that twin flame? And is that possible?
I think that we get a lot of say in how we create our life. Okay. I think we have a lot of say in that. So I would say to someone asking that question, number one, how do you want to create this? What do you want to do? Because there's
Michelle, your audio went back out.
Shift that now.
You're back now.
I'm back. Okay. If someone is an incompatible soulmate, they're there to remind you of something from the past. They're probably not going to morph into something else, but you get to choose. You can work on your own beliefs and see, are they truly just an incompatible soulmate, or, are there just some other issues that we need to work out? So if they're truly, truly an incompatible soulmate, you're probably not going to stay with them for the course of your life. Okay. So, but yeah, being in that fix-it model, there's probably an obligation or two in the subconscious about that, right? Having to fix someone, having to save someone so that I can know my value or my worth, or, if you're here because you really want to help people, but there's a little distortion on that right now about having to fix people instead of holding space for them to do their work. That might be something someone's working through. I think a lot of us do. Yeah. A lot of that. So, yeah, I don't think it's always a decision to make lightly, like, oh, I'm putting them in the incompatible soulmate box. It might take a little soul searching to come to that conclusion.
For sure. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was what, number 3?
The incompatible was 2. Diamond in the rough is 3. And a diamond in the rough could be that your timing is off. You met them too soon. We're powerful manifestors. We're calling in that soulmate and we want them now, right? We want them now. So they come in and we're not ready. They're not ready, right? So it can be a little crunchy. They could be in the middle of divorcing or breaking up with someone or going through a major shift themselves. And you can absolutely choose to go along for the ride. Ooh. Or you can choose not to and meet up later. You can maybe your paths will cross again sometime later. It's possible. Especially if they are a life compatible soulmate or a divine life partner, which we'll get to, then you're going to meet them later. So, um, yeah, so that's the third kind. That's the third kind. But it's kind of cool if you meet one, because you can see how amazing we are, right? How we can really create what we want and call them in. I think a lot of us do meet the third type at some point.
Nice. There's hope, ladies, gentlemen.
Okay, so the fourth kind is the unfinished business soulmate. You've had some other experience together in the past. You may have some karma, right? There's some karma to deal with, and you're back together to complete that learning together. You've got some unfinished business, whatever that is. And it's not always 50-50. It's not always one has the same amount as the other. Sometimes one really needs the learning more than the other. Mm-hmm. So we'll go through an experience with someone to make sure that we complete that learning for our soul's evolution, right? So in come the unfinished business soulmates to help us along with that. And those often, once that business is done, once that lesson is learned, they'll part ways as well. So I think you can start to see how some soulmates come in for a period of time. They are soulmates. They're here to facilitate our learning, our soul's evolution, and we're here to facilitate theirs. But it's for a period of time. It doesn't have to be forever, and it's okay. And it's actually, that's how it was meant to be, right? It was created that way, so it's for a purpose.
Right. So before you go on to the next one, let's talk a little bit more about the unfinished business folks, because when unfinished business more than likely means that you guys probably aren't staying together. You're there to learn something from each other. Mm-hmm. How do you help your clients really, when it comes to that unfinished business person, and they just really don't want to let that person go? And, you know, the signs are there, you know, the red flags are there, and it's time for that person to go. But we tend to cling to that person. We tend to like, no, don't leave me. Don't go. And let's stay and make that work. But it's clear, it's like, it's not happening. How do you work with your clients around those types of issues?
Well, first of all, my job is to hold the space for my client, to lovingly hold that space for them. And I'm not there to make them choose a certain way. I never tell a client that they should leave their partner or that they should stay. My job is to empower them to their own information so they can feel really grounded in their decision making, and they'll make their decision when they're ready to make that decision. And I'll point that out to them though. I mean, I will probably know that if they're with an unfinished business partner, I'm going to know. So, but they need to know. It doesn't really matter what I know, right? Because I don't have to live their life and walk in their shoes. They need to. So they really need to feel that they're making a clear decision from their heart. It feels in alignment with what they need in their life. And so if someone is still going around that circle, I know that they are not done. Their business is not done.
Yeah.
They're still learning something, and we might look into that. You know, that's how I wouldn't say, well, you're clearly not done. Okay, so see you later. You know, at that point, I would say, let's look at what you're still learning here. What do you think you're still learning? You know, and then we'll get down into those subconscious programs and see what they might still be learning by hanging on to this person, or what beliefs might be there. They might have a belief that, you know, they can't end a relationship. You know, they don't want to be the one to do that, you know, that they're learning compassion and understanding, and they're obligated to do that. And so they cannot let go. They cannot end it.
Marriages to death do us part, those types of things, those types of beliefs. And not that it's a wrong belief. Yes.
Absolutely. And also, what I do see, this is really interesting that I see with a lot of people, married or not. You know, I do a lot of muscle testing, energy kinesiology with my clients, which is a cool thing that, you know, you could Google easily and see what that's all about. But it's a way to tap into the subconscious. right? It's a way to know what is true in there. Do I have this belief in there? And if you muscle test or use energy testing on it, your body will tell you the truth. It'll tell you whether it's a yes or a no. So I often use that with clients so that we can dig down into those beliefs and see what's really going on.
Michelle, we lost you when you said what's really going on.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so what's really going on is that people will test like they're married to their partner, their energy test. So sometimes that is happening. If somebody's going around and around in an unfinished business soulmate relationship, they may test as married to that person energetically, and they may not leave. I mean, some people who are single also will test energetically like they're married to someone, and so their energy is such that they are. Right? That's the vibe we're giving off. If we're energetically testing, I'm married to so-and-so, you know, you might have that vibe out there. It's kind of like blocking people from coming in. So I love doing that clearing with people, which we could do tonight if anybody wants to release that, right? So sometimes I just worked with someone who tested that she was married to her high school boyfriend years back, right? So we were like, oh my gosh, you know, this has been 10 years here. So let's just complete that. Let's complete that energy and let it go, right? So that your energy field, you can open up and be ready to receive a soulmate, and your vibe isn't saying, I'm already taken. So, right? But it's great for that. But it's also great for, I'm going in circles in this relationship and I just can't let go and I don't know why, and I've looked at everything and I don't know why, right? You might test like you're married to that person. So let's do that.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. I'm going to put you on the big screen. Okay.
All right. So it's a really simple process where I am just going to witness, right? So I'm going to take you all through it. You don't have to muscle test it to do it. You could just choose that if you are energetically married to someone and you're ready to release that bond that way, right? It's a completion of what was. It's a loving let go of a cycle, right? It's completing a cycle and you're lovingly letting your energies go where they need to go now. Okay? All right. So for anyone that would like to take that in right now, you can just quietly choose that for yourself. Beautiful. That was neat. I saw quite a few of those happen, and it's really a very loving thing to do for yourself. It's a loving thing to release yourself from an energy like that is old and it's not serving you, it's not helping you move forward, and it's a loving thing to do for the other person because part of their energy is still kind of like held back too. And you're saying like, I love you and I want you to have what's highest and best for you, and I want what's highest and best for me. And I saw that go through for several people. Really beautiful. So
awesome. Yes, releasing that. You're right. It is absolutely a beautiful thing to to allow folks to go on their way.
Yeah. And oh, you know what's kind of interesting that I've seen too? I was just thinking about this. I have had people do that who are married and have complete intention to stay married to each other. And they do it because they want to choose again, right? It's just, I'm releasing any of those like little strains and strands that I've been holding on to that aren't from pure love. And I'm choosing you again. So it can be used that way as well, which is really nice.
Yes, absolutely. Ooh, I hope that was powerful for folks. You know, I have to say, as you were talking, I was thinking about my mother, and my mother has always had this saying that she would say to us girls. She's got 6 girls, and she would say to us, "When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you will do something about it." So yes, it is that releasing. And don't you find that intuitively we kind of know when it's time to release someone?
Yes. I think we're all really intuitive beings. We all have it. It's, we can choose from our awareness to tap into it more, right? And sometimes we do it more than other times and with different situations in our life. But yeah, absolutely. I think we know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we've got, excuse me, we've got some people in the chat saying that was very powerful. And Georgia is saying awesome. And she's also saying thank you. Rick is saying great show. So that's awesome. So let's go back to the soulmates where we left off. Because okay. I know there's people who are like, okay, I'm still trying to figure out where I am on the soulmate, what type of soulmate I'm with, or maybe I am type of a thing.
Right. Yeah. Because when we start to, it's not just about looking at who am I with, but why am I with that one right now?
Yes.
Right. Why am I with the unfinished business person right now? Right? Like they're a vibrational match for you. Why? What are you learning? It's not to judge yourself. It's just to kind of get the lay of the land. Like, what am I working with right now? Might be learning something really valuable for myself from this relationship. So it's to identify who am I with, but also why. What am I doing with them? So
absolutely. So Michelle, in that regard, is it always about us? So if I'm in a relationship with someone who's unfinished, who has the unfinished business going on, who's bringing that to my life,
yep.
Is this about not him, about me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're probably bringing some of that to their life too.
What's that?
We're probably bringing a bit of that to their life too.
Okay, but now if we see it as, if it's always about me, and then of course if that person always sees that it's always about them as well. Does that make sense? Does anyone know what I'm saying? I'm saying relationships, everything that's going on within my relationship within me is about me, to work on me. I'm working on me so that I can also give to others. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're learning to give and receive. We're learning both. We're learning both in our relationships. So yeah, and sometimes one comes a little easier for us than the other one. And it could be either, right? And we're just learning about that because ultimately we're wanting that in balance. We're wanting to have a balance between giving and receiving with others, right? That we can give love just as much as we can receive it, that we can receive love from others because that's a gift to them. When we receive from them, so that's also actually a giving, but that we're really learning both sides of it. And I also want to point out, though, that in all of these relationships, we are working on ourselves. We're learning about ourselves. And how we do that, we can do that in a multitude of ways. A lot of times we focus on, if we're in an unfinished business type relationship, twin flame relationship, that kind of thing, we're often going, oh, okay, I must be working on learning this, or I have to get better at that. And we can also learn through what we're doing right. You know, we all have other relationships in our life, or our romantic relationship might be great. And we're learning through those relationships about what we already know how to do really well. So I just want to point that out so people can start to pay attention to what they've already got too, because that's a learning to acknowledge our mastery, what we already do well, you know, that we might really be able to give love in a great way to people, right? Different people speak different love languages. If you could read people's love languages and love them the way that they can receive it, that's beautiful. If you can do that, that's great. And I think we all do it in certain ways, but we just don't even pay attention. Like, we're not even aware that we do all this awesome stuff. So I think relationships are about working on ourselves, but also about acknowledging where we are and what we already know how to do well, and giving ourselves a pat on the back for that once in a while.
Pat yourself on the back, folks.
Yeah, right? Because when we do, it's like, whoa, you know, I did that pretty well. Like, I'm good at this. This feels easy for me. Like, this brings joy to my life. That energy creates more of that. We create more of that flow in our life. So it's great to pay attention to what you are doing well. You know, if you're a great communicator, if you can receive love well, believe it or not everybody receives it easily. It's maybe hard for them to receive love.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, if you could do that stuff, you know, take a moment to acknowledge how good you are at that. Look at your relationships where you're doing that, and like, let yourself just feel that for a minute. It's really powerful.
Absolutely. And the relationships that you're talking of, they don't necessarily have to be your romantic relationships. It can be in all your relationships.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm looking on the big screen because I have Chet on the screen now. Chet is saying, after you believe you've started your work, can you or should you circle back to that relationship you may not have been ready for in the past?
That's a great question. If you are meant to circle back to that relationship, the universe is going to deliver it to you.
Yes.
So
yes.
You don't even really you don't have to think, should I, right? It will happen. It'll happen. You guys will find each other. If you're talking about a divine life partner,
mm-hmm.
the universe will, when your timing is right, the universe will move everything and everyone out of the way.
Oh.
That you come together. So, of course, you can set an intention that you'd like to circle back with someone and see what happens. But once you set an intention, just be in the flow with the universe. Let that person flow back to you. Instead of trying to just hunt that person down or make it happen and push at that energy, just let them flow.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I posted a video by Maya Angelou, and she talks about love liberates. Love liberates. So it doesn't, you know, hold down and pressure and all that. So yeah, I guess that person does come back, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a law of the universe. We are free will beings. There's the law of free agency. And we're learning that, right? We're learning those laws of the universe while we're here on the planet. And we are free will beings. We all are, right? So it's great to really know that. And as we're practicing with that and learning what that's really about, right? And we do learn that in our relationships. We use our relationships quite a bit to understand what it means to have our free will honored and to honor the free will of someone else, and how beautiful it is when we know how to do that with one another. You know, what a beautiful relationship we can create from that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. Now, I've interrupted you, so I don't know what number we're on as far as soulmates. Did we complete all 7 of them?
Not yet. Not yet. We have a few more.
Okay.
Okay. So we left off on number 5. That's the compatible soulmate. Compatible, right? So they are compatible with us right now. how we are in the world, our current orientation, we're compatible with them right now, and it feels really good. Now, one of us may evolve in a different direction. And often with the compatible soulmate, somebody might kind of go evolving in a different way or go in a different direction, and it's not meant to be a long-term relationship. And I feel like for a lot of people, that one can be confusing because it feels so good right off the bat. It's like, you know each other, you understand each other, but at some point you're kind of evolving and learning and doing different things. And so your interests may start to go in different directions. And that, I think that can be a belief too, though. So you've got to kind of just pay attention, right? You've got to pay attention to where you're at and be grounded in yourself so that you can know if it's just a fear coming up or if you're really going in different directions with this person. And as you
Michelle, your audio went out. Say it again.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Nope. It's crazy. I'm not sure what's happening with the audio tonight. Give me a test again, Michelle.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So what I was trying to say is that we may need a few experiences with a compatible soulmate before we know that they're just that level. They're not the life partner. They're compatible for that time. They match us where we're vibrating currently. We may have come together to have a particular experience or experiences and learn a particular thing together, and then we're going in different directions. Okay, so that's the fifth kind. That's number 5. Now there's 2 more, and these are like, you know, the cream of the crop of soulmate relationships. So there is number 6 is the compatible life soulmate. This is a person who can totally love you and you can totally love them. You've known each other before. You guys can hit it off, have an amazing life together, right? You could be happy with a compatible life soulmate, a most compatible life soulmate, right? That can be amazing, right? That when you come across someone like that, you're probably at a place where you have a good deal of love for yourself.
Yes.
That person really loves you. They really love you. So that's great, right? And you probably have a spiritual connection with that person, like a deep spiritual connection. And you can create a beautiful life. You might have some different interests in things. You might go in a couple different directions on certain things from time to time, but you have like a deep, abiding love for each other.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. And I see a lot of people have that in their life and they're happy. Like they are good like that. So that's a beautiful relationship to create right there. And number 7 is the divine life partner relationship. Now that is someone who there is one energy signature that you have and they have, and it's the same one. You're not the same person, but they're the one that your frequencies match. And it's you have the same divine timing, right? You are on the same mission on the planet. You guys have the same goal. It may not look the same. It doesn't mean you have the same job, right? You're not both doing the same job, you know, necessarily. You don't have the same career or something like that. Your mission on the planet, what you came here to do is in alignment with each other.
Okay.
So that is, I think that there are quite a few people who have that divine life partner, but I don't think in order to be successful that you have to have a divine life partner. But for some people, they may choose that. They may be here they have a big mission and they don't want to do it alone. And they really want to know what it feels like to have someone love them totally and completely. They want to know how to totally and completely love someone else. And they're on the same page, you know, and they want to do it together. That's a divine life partnership and a divine life soulmate. That's the seventh kind.
Nice. Of course, that's the one I'm sure most folks want. But, you know, and so there's that choice that maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe it has happened, maybe already in another life, or
yeah, absolutely, because it's for this lifetime, right? So in this lifetime, I don't know that everyone is choosing to do that. You know, maybe the soul wants to know what it's like to have a most compatible soulmate this time.
Okay.
It could be a soul choice, you know, and it doesn't mean I don't believe that it means if you don't have a divine life partner in this lifetime that there's something wrong with you.
Right.
Or, you know, it's like that just may not be the soul choice this time, and that's okay. I mean, if you have one, you're going to find each other. The universe is going to put you together. So I don't even think it's like you have to worry about that. If there's somebody who has that frequency, you know, frequencies want to find each other. They're going to match. And if there's only two of you on the planet, then you're going to come around. So.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So Cassandra is saying, can anyone go into partnership can anyone you go into partnership be the divine life partner, or does everyone you encounter have their own partnership?
Well, I think that because the divine life partnership is a specific frequency match, there's one that is for you. We have many soulmates. You could have more than one compatible life soulmate.
Okay.
Right? There isn't just one. You could have someone who is the most compatible with you. I've worked with people who've had a most compatible soulmate for, 40 years and have become widowed and have found another most compatible soulmate to spend the rest of their life with. Okay. So there's possibilities there, right? There's possibilities for having that, but the divine life partner is one.
So let me ask you, now this is going to be my question.
Mm-hmm.
Our soulmates, I get the feeling that soulmates are relationships such as man, woman, 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 man, man. But can we have soulmates outside of like a romantic type relationship? Can I have a soulmate with a co-worker? I mean, or am I more thinking of people that I'm just connected to in life?
It's my belief that we do have soul families, right? So we have people in our life, and they could be coworkers, or our friends, or our children. I do think that we can have that soulmate type of relationship with lots of people in our life, right? In different ways, so that we can learn more about ourselves, learn more about our connection to others through all types of relationship dynamics. So yeah, I do think that that is possible. But yeah, I don't think it's just romantic, but I feel like it's good to take romantic soulmate relationships and talk about them kind of in a different way, right? Because the dynamics there are very different. But yeah, I believe that. And in fact, I'm trying to recall there's a soulmate book in Theta Healing. Vienna, who's the creator of it, she wrote a whole book on it. And I was chuckling in one part because I think she talks about when we're manifesting and we're wanting to manifest a soulmate. She's like, make sure, you set your intention of who you want to show up for your soulmate. The universe might give you a dog, or a cat, which is not a bad thing, right? That's not so bad. But if you're looking for that romantic soulmate, make sure you tell the universe if you want a man or a woman.
Or if you want to be the cat lady.
Yeah, there you go.
So Tara is saying, can someone be more than one type of soulmate? And you kind of touched on that.
I do think that they can be. I think that's possible because I think it can overlap if you decide to go on that ride with the diamond in the rough soulmate. So, you might go along for a bumpy ride with that one and arrive at most compatible, right? Or divine life partner even. So I do think that's possible. And, how do you want to create it?
Right.
I always go back to that.
Absolutely. And then Georgia, of course, is saying, is one ever too old to meet their divine right partner?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true at all. And I don't think that there is some set specific timeline for how things are supposed to go. Like we could be learning certain things and our soul's evolving and doing all this juicy stuff in life. And when it's right for us to have that right partner, that divine partner, they're going to come in and we might be with them for 40 years, for 10 years, or for a month.
Yeah.
It could, maybe it isn't long, but that's okay. It's still going to be your divine timing. And I don't believe anyone's ever too old. I don't think you're ever too old for that.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, things up. We are at the top of the hour, but before we do that, I want to just chat. And Michelle, let's have a conversation about some of the services that you're offering, because you've got two amazing packages that we are offering on for specifically this audience tonight. Can you tell us a little bit about package 1 and package 2?
Sure. In the first package, I'm offering an audio healing, and I believe it's about 25 minutes long. It's kind of like it takes you through a little bit of a meditative process, and which is an easy process. You don't have to be, a marathon meditator by any stretch. I'm good for a couple minutes at a time myself, so not necessary at all. But it's just kind of like a nice process where we can get into some of the subconscious beliefs, and we do this in this audio healing. We get into some subconscious beliefs where things get illuminated, and the goal of it is to do an activation to open you up to your soulmate relationships. So you can start to see what you want to create. What do you want to feel, right? So this package and what's in there is designed to help you tap into how you want to feel in your relationship, because how we want to feel is the vibration we hold, and that's how we create, right? That's how we manifest and draw people in, right? And so it's not a theta healing thing. This audio healing actually takes in quite a bit of different techniques all in one to help you open up to your ideal soulmate relationship. And there's a part where we're going to be releasing blocks that are keeping us from feeling that, which could be resentment, fear, things like that keep us from feeling that relationship around us, seeing it or knowing it or being able to access it. Because I believe that a lot of us have met some soulmates and we don't even know they're there. Like, we're just not aware that they are yet. And it doesn't mean we missed the boat, because if you're meant to be with someone, you're going to.
Absolutely.
So, it's not about that, but it's nice to bring some of that to our awareness so we can start to shift that. And so in package 1, that healing is designed to do that. And what's really nice about it too is you can use it multiple times to go at like that next layer that's ready to release. So you can listen to it and listen to it again when you're called to, and get a little something different from it. You'll get a little something different every time. So that's the first package. In the second package, you get that audio healing and a half an hour one-on-one session with me, where we can do a deep dive into your particular programs and beliefs and work with them and shift them.
Nice. Nice. And I really like that as well. I did listen to the audio, folks, so it is very powerful. And it's energy work. I mean, she's actually on that audio, there's energy healing. I don't know if that's is that a fair way to say that?
Yeah.
Healing while you're listening to that. And I love that you said it is something that you go back to. It's like picking up a book, reading it again, and seeing or hearing or whatever, getting something totally different than the first time that you picked it up because, that's kind of how life
Yeah.
is for us.
Years ago, I had an experience like that myself, where a practitioner that I was working with gave me something like that. She gave me an audio file that was a healing
Mm-hmm.
to listen to, right? And I listened to it, and I just kind of felt like I didn't even get half of that, the first time. And I started listening to it just whenever I felt like it, and that's what happened for me. I just started to pick up different things, different pieces resonated with me at different times.
Absolutely.
And, and every once in a while, I'll still go back. Like, this is years ago. Every once in a while, I'll still go back and listen to that piece, even just for it to tell me where I am now. Now I'm like, whoa, I remember when I was feeling like this listening to that healing. And now I'm here, and it's kind of a nice feeling and a nice affirmation of where I am. So I love those audio healings. I use them a lot. So I hope everyone enjoys it.
Yes. And so, folks, where can you get that? You can get it on the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Coaching.com. Go to that website. Now, you can also get it here online on Facebook. There's an online store. It's not on this group page, but it is on the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Coaching Facebook page. So if you go to that coaching page, and if you click on the online store, you will see Michelle's special offerings. So you can go straight there. You don't even have to leave Facebook. You can do it right from there. And just know that this is a limited time offer. And it is special for us folks on the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Transformation Show. So, all righty. Michelle, I just want to thank you for being an amazing guest. I was so excited. You and I got to do some chatting beforehand and, reconnecting from before. And so it was awesome having you as a guest on this show. I'm really glad you were here to talk about soulmates and to give us some more clarity around soulmates. How many soulmates, do I get another soulmate? I feel like I had a soulmate, left it or lost it, and I'm never going to get another one. So I'm really glad you were here to bring the awareness and to have folks understand that there is awareness that we need to get throughout our relationships. So very, very exciting.
Thank you. Thank you. It was really fun to be here with you, Donna. So much fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I look forward to you, of course, coming back on the show. And, let's do some follow-up work on soulmates as well. Because I know, folks can never get enough of, learning about ourselves, our partners, our companions, things like that. So I'm very, very excited. All
Yeah,
right.
I'd love to do that. Definitely. I have lots of good stuff, so we'll definitely do that at some point.
We'll definitely do that. We'll definitely. All right. Well, folks, I want to thank all of you for hanging out with Michelle and I tonight on the Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Transformation Show. We are here every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday nights, we have an excellent show coming up next week with Paul Wong. You'll definitely want to hang out with Paul and I next week, 6 p.m. Pacific, and of course, 9 p.m. Eastern. Big love to all of y'all. Go out there and do some reflecting on your relationships. All right, everyone. Good night, everyone. Well, it's like not letting me log out, so I'm gonna sit here smiling until we shut off. I'm gonna put Michelle on the spotlight here with me. We're both will just smile. We're gonna smile pretty for the camera until it lets us off the air, and or not. Let's see here. I've not had that happen before. Oh, I think it's coming up. Hang on. Yes. All right. Good night, everyone.